If you eat too many ultra-processed foods, you could be starving your gut microbes, and they'll get hangry. That's one of many things I learned after working on a new audio course about the gut microbiome. You can learn how to keep your gut happy by listening to Try This from the Washington Post. I'm Christina Quinn. I host Try This. Dig in with me on practical advice for life's common challenges. Follow Try This right now wherever you're listening. Seriously, try it.
Later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640. We're live on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and the iHeartRadio app. And I got to tell you, I breathed a sigh of relief late last night. But here's the difference in talking about the modest tsunamis that we encountered here in California, both Northern and Southern California. Here's the difference between today and, let's say, maybe 10, 15 years ago. Not only do we have the technology to adequately forecast where tsunamis may hit, because of social media, and as much as I complain about social media, as much as I dislike the totality of social media, we had a way to get on the ground information immediately from all around the world as far as the earthquake, as far as the approaching tsunami. We also had I don't know about you, but I spent the better part of last night after I got home watching live webcams in Hawaii, different portions of different islands to be able to see. Of course, it was uneventful, but we had a real-time flow and stream of information as far as what was going on. And if anything, because of that, people were able to protect themselves. And we know that we got to see the evacuation portion. Jane Wells, who you would hear here on KFI, I was following her feed, and she was telling us what was going on where she was in Hawaii, and we could see how the evacuation was being carried out. We could see how people were moving in an orderly fashion, and we could see the approaching tsunami, and no major damage from what I could tell, but everyone was able to get somewhere in a safe amount of time. And you may say, well, Mo, it was much to do about nothing. Think of it the other way. Think of it if we did not have the evacuations and something horrible, terrible, catastrophic happened. Because we've seen the videos of different tsunamis on the net, how they take people by surprise, and they go miles inland, and people have been killed. I would rather be too cautious than too cavalier. That's just me. But I spent the better part of last night, I want to say maybe till 2 a.m. I was borderline Mark Ronner as far as being the night owl. And
what do you think? So you spent the night watching webcam footage that's different from your usual webcam viewing? Is that what you were saying?
No, I was watching webcam footage which has no connection or comparison to anything I should watch elsewhere.
I see. Okay, just a point of clarification.
Yes. Yeah, but it was informative. It was intriguing to be able to see the private cams that people had set up outside maybe their house, and then the professional webcams outside of hotels or civic use. And you got a real good sense of the different beaches, the shorelines. You could see the different tide. If you watched long enough, you could see the tide roll out and the tide roll in. And it was educational in that regard. I'm glad no one got hurt as far as I can tell. I know there were some tsunamis. I think it's like maybe 4 feet high, if I'm not mistaken, in the Hawaii area, depending on the island. But there was no major damage or injuries to the best of my knowledge. I'm always pulling for people. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't like, hoping that it was going to be something out of a disaster movie like 2012 or something.
You weren't sitting there with a life jacket on?
No. But I still wanted to know what was going on in Hawaii. I thought that was going to be a better predictor of what we would have experienced to a lesser degree.
Yeah, I knew when I left here late last night and there was nothing coming across the wires that we probably got lucky.
And that's okay.
Yeah, I was fine with that.
And that's okay.
After the fires earlier in the year, I'm okay with a respite from serious emergencies.
Or at least for a day, because the next day is always something different. We've been dealing with a little bit of everything this year, unfortunately. But, I was pleased, and I was watching the commenters on the various webcams, and it's almost like they were doom scrollers. They wanted something to happen. They wanted something out of a movie. It's like, what's wrong with people? What is wrong with you people?
If you watch enough news, you'll find people who think that gives them some sort of credit or credibility, street cred, like it makes them sound savvy. And I remember mocking everybody who kept predicting there was going to be a recession under Biden. It's like, you have no idea what you're talking about. You just think it's going to give you something to talk about if there is a disaster of some sort.
Hopefully, we won't have to worry about any type of new disaster, like an avalanche or something here in California for the foreseeable future. I think that we've basically run the gamut of potential disasters.
Well, fingers
knock
crossed.
on wood. But also coming up on the show today, we have to talk about former Vice President Kamala Harris's announcement to not run for governor. I have some thoughts and possibly some insight on that. And did you hear about Gilbert, former NBA player, got arrested for his supposed illegal gambling rings? Like, what are you guys doing? What are you doing? And then you're like promoting it on social media. You send out a picture of your poker table. You post it on social media. You talk about your game on your podcast. Just dumb. And we'll have to go to Mark Ronner to know about the Costco sample crackdown.
Oh, no.
Big changes at Costco and those free samples.
What? No.
Yeah. Got to talk about it.
That's worse than a tsunami. Are you kidding me?
Why do they hate America?
They do. And if you take Mark's line one more time, he's going to come into that studio and hurt you.
Yeah, you got to write your own material, Foosh.
It's fun.
It's been nice knowing you.
And it's tarantula mating season. So if you should see a tarantula here in California or some of the other southwestern states, don't think it odd. It's just love happening.
Do you feel about tarantulas the way you feel about bees?
I don't see tarantulas, so I don't have to worry about it. But I would if I were to see tarantulas every single day.
Yeah, the answer is kill them all with fire. Just in case you were wondering.
Well, I'm not against that, honestly, because they're tarantulas.
Yeah.
It's later with Mo Kelly. KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere on social media and the iHeartRadio app. When we come back, we're going to get into what the former vice president had to say today and what they may mean for California politics.
If you eat too many ultra-processed foods, you could be starving your gut microbes, and they'll get hangry. That's one of many things I learned after working on a new audio course about the gut microbiome. You can learn how to keep your gut happy by listening to Try This from the Washington Post. I'm Christina Quinn. I host Try This. Dig in with me on practical advice for life's common challenges. Follow Try This right now wherever you're listening. Seriously, try it.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI, Later with Mo Kelly, live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Every once in a while, I'll talk a little bit of politics on here, more strategy than anything. And there was a lot of, I'll say, questions surrounding the future of former Vice President Kamala Harris, given her loss in the presidential election. If history is a guide, usually when you lose a presidential election, in the sense of if you become the general election candidate, if you lose the general election, history usually is you go do something else. That's history. Now, there are people who have run for president more than once, and maybe they didn't get the nomination, like a Mitt Romney or John McCain, and then they eventually get the nomination, and they either win or lose, and usually if you lose, you go on about your way. Donald Trump is the exception to that rule. He lost the general election in 2020. I don't care what you conspiracy theorists say. And he won in 2024. So that would be the exception, which more than anything proves the rule. And the question was, what was Kamala Harris going to do? Was she going to run for governor, or was she going to possibly make another presidential run? I don't see her making another presidential run because of those reasons, losing in the general election. Usually, parties are loath to re-elect or re-nominate someone who's lost in the general election. The feeling is, the conventional wisdom is, America has decided. But that was before the age of Trump. So it is not impossible to see a scenario in which Kamala Harris could go through the primary process and take her chances at becoming the Democratic nominee in 2028. I personally don't believe that she will. Here's why. She has been in elected office for about 20 years. And after you are the vice president or even the president, you can go on the speaking circuit at about $200,000 per appearance. For all the folks who want to say, like, well, they have these jobs, these elected officials, and they're just doing it to enrich themselves. You don't make money as governor. You don't. I don't think it's maybe like $250,000, $300,000 a year. You're not going to enrich yourself to a large degree being an elected official. Kamala Harris can do 20 speaking gigs and make millions of dollars, saying nothing of publishing her memoir from her time working in the White House or just her life in general. She can get a television production deal like the Obamas did, or the Princess Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. There are too many ways to make money if money is the motivation. If she wants to serve as a public servant, she's already had 20 years of that. I'm not sure that she wants more of that. But, ego, we'll see. Here's what was announced earlier today.
We do have breaking news in the race for governor. Former Vice President Kamala Harris has just announced she will not be running for governor. Her potential entry froze the race with donors and candidates waiting on her move. And moments ago, she released a statement here. We do have Alex Michelson joining us to talk all about this as well.
Yeah. I want to read this statement. First of all, this says, in recent months, I have given serious thought to asking the people of California for the privilege to serve as their governor. I love this state, its people, and its promise. It is my home. But after deep reflection, I've decided that I will not run for governor in this election. She goes on to say, for now, my leadership and public service will not be in elected office. I look forward to getting back out and listening to the American people, helping elect Democrats across the nation who will fight fearlessly, and sharing more details in the months ahead about my own plans.
So there's, hi guys.
Good morning.
Good
Thank
morning.
you for rushing in with this breaking news.
So there's a lot to unpack in there. Essentially, though, Kamala Harris, I just got off the phone with somebody who's very close with her and familiar with her thinking, made the decision that she just didn't want to do this.
Didn't want to do politics.
She didn't want to do the governor's race right now. If you look at that statement, she leaves open the possibility of running for president. I don't think she's decided that for sure. She has been in elected office continually for over 20 years.
It's possible she could run again for president. I don't think she wants to ultimately. Obviously, I never really considered any serious scenario where she was going to run for governor. One, because if you are going to run for president, that run for governor makes that impossible. And two, it would be a demotion, from going from vice president to governor. Like in the way that I don't get why Andrew Cuomo's trying to go from governor to mayor of New York. That's something you don't commonly see. And I don't think there's any upside for running for governor, and I don't know if there's any upside for her running for president. I think it took a lot out of her, and I'd be very surprised if she ran.
But, and this is something that, taking the page from a note that you often bring up, is there anyone currently within the Democratic Party, because you have to be announcing and getting yourself out there now as a potential for even primarying any of that, for the Democratic nominee for president? There's no one.
No, that's not true. There are people who you can tell who are positioning themselves. Really? Now, there are a bunch of people who are positioning themselves. You can tell when they're doing a lot of national media. Pete Buttigieg is positioning himself to run for president. Gavin Newsom is positioning himself to run for president. Josh Shapiro, Pennsylvania, is positioning himself to run for president. How it all shakes out, I have no idea, but you can tell when they're trying to elevate their profile to a national profile so everyone knows their name from coast to coast. They're positioning themselves to run. Now, I say with this caveat, not everyone who's running for president is actually running for president.
And that's what I think. I think some of those names you mentioned, they're just running so they can either get
a cabinet position
or these $200, $100,000 speaking.
That's right. And when they're running for president, just about everyone has a book, a memoir for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that they're also peddling. So you think of people, like Herman Cain. He wasn't running for president. He was running for a radio show. Vivek Ramaswamy, he was not running for president. He was running for either a cabinet position or, something else. Now I think he's running for governor of Ohio.
Right.
There are folks who are perpetual candidates who are not serious about trying to become president, but it develops their national profile where Vivek Ramaswamy, everyone knows who he is now. Why? Because he ran for president. He has a better chance of running for governor.
And that's why I think, without her absolutely saying, I'm absolutely not considering a run for the president, I agree that her statement lends a little more belief to the fact that she is potentially mulling an idea of going to, just because I think that she would be looking and saying, now she can come back and say, see what I told you, for anyone who's against Trump.
I would say this, as a politician, every politician leaves the door open. There's no need to make a decision about 2028 and 2025. Okay. That's the first thing. And also she will do her internal polling and she will see how she feels, because it's a rigorous grind come late 2026. And she'll get a sense of where the party is and what the party feels about her and whether the donors are still in alignment. Are they willing to support her? Because it takes money for any campaign. And if the donors aren't there, it doesn't matter what's in her heart or what she wants to do. That means the party's not going to support her. But again, if the past is prologue, they usually don't support the same person to become the general election candidate or nominee. And all this is subject to change without notice, because we don't know what the economy is going to look like in a year plus. We don't know like the health of Donald Trump in a year plus. There are a lot of things which could change this whole equation, having nothing to do with Kamala Harris. Gavin Newsom could find himself in a sex scandal or something which completely ruins his profile. You know what I mean? Then that makes other people think about running. Or Pete Buttigieg could do well, but the original Kamala Harris donor is not sold on him. So that means she's a kingmaker. She has a bargaining chip. All of this is far more complicated than just, I want to run for president. It's Later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app. We're going to tell you about Gilbert Arenas from Southern California. He played with the Orlando Magic. His son, unfortunately, was in a recent car accident, who's playing now for the USC Trojans basketball team. Well, Gilbert is in a lot of trouble with the feds because allegedly he was holding high stakes gambling parties at his own house. We'll tell you about it when we come back.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI AM 640 is Later with Mo Kelly. We're live on social media in the iHeartRadio app. And I'm glad that my vices aren't the typical vices. Like I don't gamble. I've never really had any desire to gamble. I've never done drugs. Those things just don't excite me. Like, I'm not an adrenaline junkie. You're not going to find me on a roller coaster. You're not going to find me jumping out of an airplane or bungee jumping. Those things just don't do anything for me. So it's always weird for me when I see people doing things which could ruin one's livelihood with stuff that is just not all that important. And I think having home poker games and betting rings just don't make sense to me. I mean, I don't get it. Why would you risk what you have? And you may not be familiar with Gilbert Arenas, but he was a big time Southern California basketball star, went to the University of Arizona, played in the NBA. He was not Hall of Fame level, but he was definitely an NBA All-Star. And now he was becoming, it's kind of weird because if I were to make a comparison, I would say he was on the level of like a burgeoning Shannon Sharp, where he was getting known for his podcast. He was getting known for these outrageous, outlandish takes, and he was developing his own internet persona and personality, which was very financially successful from what I could tell. And then today happened.
Former NBA star and SoCal native Gilbert Arenas has pleaded not guilty to charges involving operating an illegal gambling business.
ABC's Alex Stone joining us live here in studio with all the details on this developing story. Alex.
And guys, he was just in court a few moments ago pleading not guilty. He's going to go free on $50,000 bond. Gilbert Arenas is, of course, known for his time in the NBA, playing for teams like the Warriors and the Wizards. Known here in L.A. as well for his son, who is a star recruit at USC, recently in a violent Cybertruck crash. Federal prosecutors say Arenas and other defendants, including a high-level member of an Israeli transnational crime group, were all arrested today. They're accused of running an illegal gambling club of sorts out of his mansion in Encino. Federal prosecutors say they had high-stakes illegal...
I want to back up there because what I think is more important is the people around him, which probably brought the heat to him. The feds probably weren't looking for a poker game or legal gambling, but they were probably looking at the other people he was associated with, and this was a way in.
Were all arrested today. They're accused of running an illegal gambling club of sorts out of his mansion in Encino. Federal prosecutors say they had high-stakes illegal poker games and collected a rake, a fee that the House charges for those who would play big money and pay into it. Young women were allegedly hired to serve drinks.
Uh-oh. Young women were allegedly hired to, quote-unquote, serve drinks.
Federal prosecutors say they had high-stakes illegal poker games and collected a rake, a fee that the House charges for those who would play big money and pay into it. Young women were allegedly hired to serve drinks, provide massages, and companionship.
Provide companionship? Do you just need a friend when you're betting?
I feel like there might be other words that we could employ here.
It seems like we're right next door to sex trafficking and prostitution. We're not there, but we're on the same street. And for it to be in the indictment says to me that there might be a superseding indictment, other charges which will be added to this. Because what's the point of mentioning hiring women, young women, for companionship or back massages or whatever?
Young women were allegedly hired to serve drinks, provide massages, and companionship.
Massages, okay? Massages. Who gets a massage while playing poker? Or is that after poker? Massages.
Young women were allegedly hired to serve drinks, provide massages, and companionship, the way that prosecutors put it.
Were they scantily clad too? I'm guessing they were. I don't know for a fact, but I'm betting they didn't have a lot of clothes on.
It's a good chance that they probably were not dressed very fully.
They're hired. They're there for companionship. They're serving drinks. They're giving massages.
Were they possibly, say, escorting any of the men to any place?
They might have been self-employed models. Yes, it might have been, independent business ladies.
Young women were allegedly hired to serve drinks, provide massages, and companionship, the way that prosecutors put it. And the women were allegedly charged money as well.
There it is. There it is. Charging money for a massage. We call those lap dances.
Young women were allegedly hired to serve drinks, provide massages, and companionship, the way that prosecutors put it.
Have you ever asked for someone to just give you some companionship for money?
I feel like there might be a word for that too.
Yeah, there's a way to describe that.
They keep dancing around the obvious. They put it in the indictment.
Well, it's also interesting that they specifically said back massages and companionship.
And yeah, right. And just from when I was serving on a federal grand jury, I know how some of this goes. They give you a few of the things that's enough to get an indictment. You get them arrested, you get them charged, and then the fuller investigation happens. and discovery, and then most likely they'll hit them with the prostitution charges as well, or sex trafficking, depending on how the women were abused, my word, in that regard.
The way that prosecutors put it, and the women were allegedly charged money as well. Prosecutors say chefs, valets, armed security guards, they were hired, and guys, the charges.
Chefs? If I'm a chef, I'm thinking like, hey, don't bring my name into this. I'm just cooking food. Yeah, I'm not having sex with anyone. I'm not giving anyone massages. I'm not betting anything. I'm just cooking food. Keep my name out of this.
Valets, armed security guards, they were hired, and the women were allegedly charged money as well. Prosecutors say chefs, valets, armed security guards, they were hired, and guys, the charges include conspiracy to operate an illegal gambling business. If convicted, they could be looking at 5 years in federal prison.
5 years.
Well, that's not a very happy ending.
Oh, right. No, it's probably 5 years per count.
Oh, okay.
Consecutively, not concurrently, because if they're going to charge you with illegal betting or legal gambling, there might be some sort of sex charge in there. They're hinting at it that might be forthcoming. It's not going to be 5 years total. No, they're going to add them mother fathers up. It'd be like 35, 40, potentially, when everything is added up.
Sounds like somebody didn't do a real great cost-benefit analysis to this.
They just probably got sloppy. They probably just got careless, because no one should know about your poker game, for lack of a better phrase. No one's supposed to know unless you're advertising it or you're moving a lot of money and someone knows that you're moving a lot of money.
Never leave any witnesses. Never.
Yeah, and when it comes to like just out of me being curious, out of the armed security guards, I mean, wouldn't they have to come from a reputable place, or does that also maybe could be underground?
Oh, I don't know if any of this is reputable.
Okay, well,
but
there you go.
But if you have women, and I put that in air quotes because we don't know, women who are there charging money for services of massages, wink, wink, for companionship, wink, wink, then yeah, I suspect, and there's also actual money being
traded or
going back and forth, exchanged in this game, then yeah, I can understand why you would have armed security, because that would be a target if the wrong people knew about that game. And maybe if the wrong people knew about the game, they didn't want to hit the game, but maybe they just turned them in. I don't know. Enough people obviously knew about it where it wouldn't have been hard to get any type of evidence to a federal prosecutor and get an indictment. And also, this is what I'll always want to remind people. An indictment is only a minimum amount of evidence. It's just to say, hey, there is probable cause that a crime has been committed, and these people in the indictment, we believe, are guilty of that crime. It's a very low standard of proof. It's not like you're determining guilt or innocence off the basis of the indictment. It's just to say, we need to take this to trial. Well, that's all it is.
That may be true, but they don't really file indictments like that if they don't think they're going to win it.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm just saying people sometimes wrongly assess the strength of a case just from what they read in the indictment. And there's far more evidence which is coming. But to your point, Mark, especially when it comes to the feds, I think it's like a 93% conviction rate. Once they indict you, they already have you for the most part.
They don't do nuisance indictments, okay?
No, not at all. And that whole thing about they can indict a ham sandwich, that may be true, but when you're talking about the feds, they have a wall of evidence which is getting ready to come crashing down on your head.
Yeah, they know the ham sandwich is guilty before they indict it.
Right. Damn ham sandwiches.
Seriously.
It's a menace to society. It's Later with Mo Kelly. KFI AM 640 live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app. And when we come back, we're going to tell you about the worst city for traffic in the United States. Is it LA?
If you eat too many ultra-processed foods, you could be starving your gut microbes, and they'll get hangry. That's one of many things I learned after working on a new audio course about the gut microbiome. You can learn how to keep your gut happy by listening to Try This from the Washington Post. I'm Christina Quinn. I host Try This. Dig in with me on practical advice for life's common challenges. Follow Try This right now wherever you're listening. Seriously, try it.
We'll find out in just a moment.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI AM 640 is later with Mo Kelly. We're live on YouTube. Check out our video simulcast. Got to make sure you subscribe. And it makes it easier when you subscribe. You'll be able to find it when you come back, because in the Momigos, that's the area where all the people who support the show, the Momigos, when they meet, it's easier for them to come back and you to find them as well, because after you subscribe, it pops up right on your page when you go to YouTube. It makes it real easy, and you can hang out and enjoy not only the show, but the show within the show, because when they're in that Motown chat and they're talking about all the things that we're discussing, we have polls in which you can weigh in on. Obviously, you can talk with other people who are watching and listening to the show, or you can close the chat and just watch the show itself. It's a good way to enjoy the program. We all know that LA has horrible traffic, but how horrible is it? And I found this list on secretlosangeles.com, and the Consumer Affairs Research Group analyzed data from the 50 most populous metro areas in the country, focusing on average commute times, daily hours spent in congestion, and rate of fatal car crashes to deduce the worst traffic in the nation. I have to assume that LA is somewhere on this list. We're a little short on time, so I'm going to have to start from number 5. So here is number 5 of the worst traffic in the country. Coming in at number 5 is Atlanta, Georgia. And if you've been to Atlanta, that's accurate. It's bad. It wants to be a major city, but its roads do not want to be a major city. I mean, they don't have the big 4 and 5 lane highways and the boulevards that we have out here. It's just very different.
Believe it or not, they still have some packed dirt roads.
No, they do. Absolutely.
Packed, like hard packed dirt.
It is the South in that way. Even though it's an urban metropolis, you get to the outskirts and you think like, this is like 1950s. Coming in at number 4 of the worst traffic in America. San Francisco, California. That should not be any surprise. I was just there about maybe 3 weeks ago. It was just as bad as ever. Coming in at number 3 of the worst traffic in America. When I'm on Ocean or Collins, absolutely, Miami. When I'm in the South Beach area, that's about all I see of Miami. When I go to Miami, it's all about South Beach. And I'm going to be there in October, as a matter of fact, for a late family reunion dual birthday celebration with my wife and other people.
You're just traveling.
And look, I have to.
And part of it's because of the cruising, because everyone's checking out all the town.
That's why I say Collins Avenue and Ocean, because that's where all the people are cruising, going to the bars, the clubs, the hotels. All of the nightlife is happening, for the most part, on those two streets down by the water. Now, when you get into urban Miami on the other side of the city, couldn't tell you. The only reason I usually go to Miami, at least back in the day, was for South Beach. It's where all your dreams would come true, and some of your nightmares if you didn't handle your dreams correctly. Coming in at number 2 of the worst traffic in all of the United States. Good memories from Miami. Good memories. She was hot. Los Angeles, California. We are not the worst in the United States anymore. It's bad. It's bad. Average daily commute time in LA, 30.5 minutes. I wish my commute was only 30.5 minutes. That would be an improvement. How long is your commute, Tuala?
Today alone, getting from Altadena to here, that was about an hour.
Okay. Mark Runner, how long was your commute?
It's under a half hour.
You son of a...
In fact, it's usually closer to 20 minutes because I kind of drive no nonsense, you know? I'm not one of these guys who zips in and out of lanes, but...
You're aggressive.
I drive with purpose.
Kind of what it sounds like.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. He's the guy who is making all of us want to give him a runner.
No, I am polite and safe, but...
20 minutes? No, Mark, I know you're out.
No, I'm there to chew bubblegum and kick ass, okay?
Oh, goodness. Oh, Stefan, how long is your commute?
About an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah,
mine is an hour to an hour and a half. Carnisha, how long is your commute?
30 minutes at max.
at max. Okay.
There she goes.
Had to rub that in.
Just really had to
Wait a minute. Wait. Curtis, are you driving?
No, I'm not driving, but
Okay, you don't have a commute.
hey,
You don't have a
I still
commute?
have to ride along.
No. It's not a commute if you're riding.
If you're a passenger, you're not commuting. You're on your phone. You are chilling.
You might be taking a nap.
Right. You say things like, "Oh, can we stop here?"
You can't commute from the back seat.
Look here, I'm a passenger princess, and I will always be one. Okay.
Coming in at number 1 of the worst traffic in the United States. Does anyone have a guess?
It would have to be New York, wouldn't it?
You would think, Stefan?
Wait. You said you would think?
I would think New York.
Oh,
Absolutely.
okay.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I was thinking New York. I put that in the poll. So
I'm gonna say Vegas.
Not this week.
Yeah. Coming in number 1. The nation's capital, Washington, D.C.
What?
But you know what?
Really?
But there is a balancing act to that because you notice New York is not on this list. They have great public transportation. You can get anywhere. You can live in New York without a car. You can live in Washington, D.C. without a car, especially if your
That's
life
why I
is in
didn't
Washington,
believe that
D.C.
either of them would be on
that's
there.
a good point.
I didn't put either of them on there because of mass transit. I put Vegas because Vegas is getting more crowded, and their mass.
They don't have mass transit.
They don't have it, so it's like everyone is on the streets in Vegas.
Yeah, but Vegas has been a ghost town for weeks now.
Well, the weather doesn't help.
Yeah.
I don't think it's because of the weather, okay?
What are you trying to say?
I'm saying nobody wants to go there.
Mm-hmm.
Expound.
Sounds like there's a little subtext there, Mark.
Yeah.
Say it.
What
Say
do
what
you
you mean.
say?
Say what's
Say
on
with
your
your
mind.
chest.
Come on now.
Say it with your chest.
Tourism in the United States is down across the board, and Vegas is part of that.
What else are you trying to say, Mark?
I'm trying to say it's time for the news.
KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
KFI and KOST HD2, Los Angeles, Orange County. More stimulating talk.
If you eat too many ultra-processed foods, you could be starving your gut microbes, and they'll get hangry. That's one of many things I learned after working on a new audio course about the gut microbiome. You can learn how to keep your gut happy by listening to Try This from the Washington Post. I'm Christina Quinn. I host Try This. Dig in with me on practical advice for life's common challenges. Follow Try This right now wherever you're listening. Seriously, try it.